There, welcome to my channel SRE with Ben. Today we are going to learn how to install multiple instances of a Beats agent on a single server. So we are going to consider Metricbeat as our flavor of Beats for this use case. To start off, let's first go and download the Metricbeat extract. So first type Metricbeat download. Go to the official Elastic Metricbeat site. Once you're in the site, you can directly download the latest version by clicking on this link, or if you would like a particular version, go to view past releases and select the version you would like to download. I'm going to be using 8.3.3 for my scenario, so let us select 8.3.3 and click on download and choose the OS version. My OS version is Windows, so I'm going to download the Windows zip extract. Click on this. It will start the download right away. Alright then, here we go. We have the zip file downloaded and I have extracted the zip folder. After you extract the zip folder, this is how the folder will look like. You will have the various binaries that is required for Metricbeat to run. First, let us go and rename this folder to Metricbeat 8.3.3 for convenience. To understand how a beat agent works, first let's understand what are the required files and how the agent works. So if you see, this is the Metricbeat exe file, and this is the main application that will be running the agent. And this agent, whenever you run it, whenever you go into a command prompt and run it, it will first look for the metricbeat.yaml file within the working directory. So this is the current working directory. This exe file will look for a YAML file, and this will be the file, and it will pick this file and run the configurations inside that file. It will create two new folders. One is the data folder and one is the log folder. For data folder will be created for metadata that Metricbeat or filebeat will be using, and then the log folder will be used to write logs. So what we are going to do in our case now is we are going to isolate this YAML file and the data and log file so that we can create multiple services, use the same exe file and these binaries to run separate services individually. Let's go ahead and do that. First, as a first step, I'm going to create a new folder. This will be my service one, and inside this folder, I'm going to create a data folder and a log folder. I'm going to create another folder. This will be the service2. Even inside this folder, I'm going to create a data folder and a log folder. Right. So the next part, like I was telling you, the main thing is the YAML file should be created inside each service, and it should point to the binary files. So let us first open this in an IDE and create the YAML file. So I'm going to use Visual Studio. I open the service1 folder here. I'm going to create a new file here called the metricbeat.yml, and this will be the file on which I'll be making the required configuration for this service. So let us go ahead and do that. We will be using the system module to test our Metricbeat services. So first let's go ahead and configure the module details. Metricbeat.modules. Next up, we will configure the output section. So I'm going to just output the data on my console rather than sending it to an Elastic instance or any other ingestion service. You can use an output of your choice. This should work without any issues for any output. Okay, so we have finished our input and output sections. Now we come to the important part where we map this YAML file and this service folder to our binaries. So that can be done by setting up the path variables. So let's go ahead first add a comment here to make sure we isolate this section. Settings. First, you should configure the path.home. This will point to the exe file, metricbeat.exe or any beat.exe file. So let us give that path.home. Let me copy my exe file path. Let's go here, go back to my service. So this is where my exe file is located. So I'm going to copy this path to paste it here. Configure the path.config. Path.config points to the location where config files related to this module, whatever module we have configured, is present. So this can be also found under the zip folder. Navigate to the zip folder and go inside module and find the relevant module. In my case, it's system module, so I'm going to navigate to system module. I'm going to copy this path. I'm going to paste it here. Next up, we are going to configure the path.data and path.home. This will point to the service data and log folder. So I'm just going to copy that from here. Copy path, paste it. Copy path and paste it. This should be log. Yes, so we are done with the configuration. Let us save that and let's first test if this is working as expected. So first let me open a terminal. You can do this from command prompt or a PowerShell. So how you have to run this file is first you have to navigate to the zip folder where the metricbeat exe exists. So let me go into that folder, metricbeat 8.3.3, and the command to run it will be metricbeat.exe space -c. -c is an argument used to pass a custom YAML file. So I'm going to copy the path of this file because I want my exe to run this file. I'm going to paste it and to output the details on my console, I'm going to give -e. Let me make this big and run. You can see my service is running as expected now. So let me stop this and do the same configuration for service 2. So let me close this folder and open service 2. We shall follow the same steps for service 2 as well. So I'll quickly do it. First, let me create a YAML file, metricbeat.yml. You can name this file anything you want. I'm just naming it metricbeat.yml for convenience. And even in this service 2, I will use the same system module and configure output to console. Since this second service is different, we'll have to make changes to the path settings, make it point to the service number 2 so that this metricbeat file will use the service 2 folder details and run. So path.home will remain the same because the exe file is the same, and path.config will remain the same since we are again using the system module, and this is where the system module binary exists. Then path.data, we will change it to service2 data and service2 log. So let's go ahead and save it and let's test it. So this YAML is working as expected. Let me stop that. Right. Now we have both the services configured. Now we are going to go to the next part where we are going to install the services individually. So let's make use of the Metricbeat install script itself. Let's make a copy of this and name one copy install service Metricbeat service 1, and let's make another copy of it and name it service 2. To install the service, we'll have to make some changes to the install scripts. So let's first open PowerShell ISE in admin mode and make changes. I have opened my PowerShell ISC in admin mode. First, let me go and open that file, install file for service one. So this is the file for service one. I'm going to open it. And the changes that are needed to be done is this. First, let's change this service name. Let's make this metricbeat underscore service one. Let's name the new service also metricbeat underscore service one. Display name as well, metricbeat service one. And let's add that name here, metricbeat underscore service one. This is the command that PowerShell uses to start, install the service and make the required configurations. Next thing we'll have to do is change the path locations, just like what we had done in the YAML. We'll have to give the path locations here. So let's remove this working directory and give the path to our metricbeat.exe. So let's go ahead and copy that. This is our path to the metricbeat.exe. So I'm going to paste it here. Next, we have to change the YAML working directory. This will be the path of the service YAML. So we'll go to the service one and copy this because this is where we have our YAML file. If you had named a different name to your YAML file, make sure you change the name here. And then we have the data folder. Let's change this path pointing to the data folder, service one slash data. And let's change this path and point it to the log folder, service one.log. Yeah, we are done with the changes for service one. We can run this and install the service now. So let's go ahead, select this and run. So if you can see, my service has been installed successfully. Let me show you that. Now you can see here my metricbeat service one has been installed successfully. And let me start it to show it works as expected. My service has started, so to make sure the service is running as expected, let me go inside service one folder and go inside logs, and I can see the log started generating here. So let me open this log. You can see the service is running and it's printing some logs into the log folder. So you can ignore this error in my scenario because I'm trying to print the output to a console, but my service does not have a console. So this is not an ideal output for a service. You could configure an elastic output or any other ingestion output, and that would work fine. So we can safely ignore this error. But this is proof to say that the service is running fine. So let's go ahead and install the second service. So first let me close this file and let me open service 2 installation file, and let's make the same changes here as well, and point it to service 2. So make this service 2, same name for my service, my display name, and here as well. Now we'll have to change the path. Let's change this path to the exe directory. Let me go to my directory. Let's change this path to the YAML directory. That will be under service 2. Let's go to service 2. And let's change the path of the data and log folder. That will be under service 2 as well. And let's do the same for logs as well. Log. And we are done with the configuration. Let's save this, select and run. And you can see my service 2 has been installed as well. So let me go to my services and let me try to do a refresh. Yes, I can see my service 2 also is installed. It has not started yet. So let me start my service. Now both my metricbeat services have started running. I can make sure my service 2 is running by checking the log folder and see if there is a file. Current time it has generated a file. So let me open this file. Right, so you can see the service has been installed and it started running. Even here we get an error since our output is console output and the service is unable to publish it to console output. This can be safely ignored. This is how you can install multiple instances of beats on a single system. This same process can be applied for other flavors of beats as well, filebeat, heartbeat, whichever beat service. Hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching my video. Do let me know in the comment section if you face any errors. I will try to respond to it promptly. Also, the YAML configurations are available on my Git repository, SRE with Ben. I will leave a link to the Git repository in the description below. Thank you.